government to control spending in 2016. Suspended police officer caught after being on the run. And Waigani Police identifies suspects involved in rape of 4 women.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening and thank you for joining me. This is Wednesday's news. Government spending will be stringently controlled this year as a mechanism to cope with low revenue levels in the country. Secretary for Finance Dr. Ken Nangan and his officers revealed this today while announcing the opening of government expenditure accounts this morning.
As promised, it was the shortest close of accounts to date.
From now on, this will be the timing for the opening of public accounts on the first week of January, coinciding with the opening of public service.
With the rollover of the 2015 budget last night, Dr. Nangan confirms revenue issues of last year were also carried forward.
We haven't actually come out from the problems of the revenue flows into the corpus. That there will be issues with timing.
Dr. Nangan said government spending in the foreseeable future will depend on revenue flows.
But that will continue to be the modus operandi. That's the way we're going to operate for some time until such time the cash flow situation, the revenue situation improves. But
during the close of accounts announcement last year, Finance Minister James Marape said they expected some revenue to flow in over the close of accounts period. Dr. Nangan said they have received some dividends from Kumul Holdings.
That's the continuous struggle in terms of, it's a day-to-day struggle in managing the cash flow because the revenue is slowly coming in.
Finance is now putting in place stringent measures to control government spending.
We take it that given the current environment, it's a tight fiscal space. So whatever that comes in the tight fiscal space, we also apply our tight strategies to manage the cash flows out.
Anything, we will be, our secretary will be setting a threshold for each of the agencies to expend the funds that will be disbursed to them by treasury in terms of warrants.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Finance Secretary Nangan also announced that funds for all government priorities for 2015 have been remitted and education remains a top priority for the government.
Despite the revenue constraints, Dr. Nangan said they managed to pay in full 2015 priorities.
TFF, tuition-free education, has been discharged in full. Special intervention programs of DSIP and PSIPs have been discharged in full. So all the government priority programs we have for 2015 have been discharged in full.
With the TFF funding for this year, the finance officers said they expected 2015 funding to assist schools to open the new year. However, it still remains a priority for this year.
Now, this week, next week, we'll be working closely with Treasury to issue the first lot of warrants for the first term TFF funding to go out.
Dr. Nangan said the first quarter TFF funds amounts to around 150 million kina for this year. This will be welcome news for schools throughout the country who faced funding shortage during the 2015 academic year. Last year, a total of 650 million kina was budgeted for TFF. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
A suspended police officer who has been on the run for over a month was captured by Port Moresby Police today. The officer from a mixed parentage of East Sepik and East New Britain was apprehended at Hohola. He will be formally charged with illegal possession of a firearm and his involvement in a car theft.
Following a tip-off, the dog unit, including the mobile squad, rushed to Hohola and surrounded the premises of Medicine Sans Frontier. The building is adjacent to Lizard Lounge. The suspect was caught hiding inside the premises and taken to the Waigani Police station for questioning. Details of the suspect have been withheld by police, but it is understood he was in possession of a firearm and has records of being involved in a stolen hire car. The weapon, a government-issued firearm, was later recovered by police. The rifle K1A1 was issued during a special police operation but was never returned. Come Friday, at least 9 police officers will have been criminally charged. For officers with minor cases, disciplinary actions like pay cuts and demotions will be taken against them, while those with serious charges will be dismissed from the force. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Police Chief of Operations Jim Andrews has warned metropolitan superintendents and provincial police commanders to control the behaviour of police officers under their command. Mr. Andrews will be issuing a directive to regional police commanders to ensure METSUPs and PPCs take command and control of their men, or they will be personally held responsible. He says police brutality and discipline issues are issues only the police management can fix. Mr. Andrews made this comment in support of Prime Minister Peter O'Neill's call to weed out corrupt and undisciplined officers. Waigani Police have identified 2 suspects in relation to the gang rape of 4 women in Port Moresby on the 1st of January 2016. Waigani Police Station Commander Inspector Micah Yosman says over 40 men are believed to be involved in the rape and police are still gathering information. It is believed the perpetrators reside in Mayoral, the same area where the incident occurred.
Formal investigations are yet to commence, and despite the 3 female victims showing up at the Waigani Police Station at 10 this morning, no positive feedback were given on the investigation process. At the moment, police only have initial statements collected from the victims and their families.
There have been no arrests as yet, but we can assure the media and the public that we will be doing that in a very short period of time. We have suspects. We have been greatly assisted by community leaders.
The incident occurred on the morning of January 1 this year. According to the victims, over 40 men broke into their houses and raped the 4. Esther Andy, a 23-year-old mother of 1, was asleep when the perpetrators kicked the door down and grabbed her. She was punched in her right eye and repeatedly raped by at least 10 men.
Sample mole escape the window. Now sample man and run away na patigo. Na sample Mary all only me plan all bagarabi me plan. Sample mol burgi face. Okay the eye number all burgi name all.
The other victims include a 15-year-old girl and an elderly woman believed to be in her 50s. All victims are from Erave in the Southern Highlands.
Because all dark, so looks all of baseball.
This morning, over 300 community members from Mayoral fronted up at the Waigani station to get an update on the police investigations. They were joined by founder of Women in Business and a strong supporter of women issues in Port Moresby, Janet Sape, and members of the National Capital District Council of Women.
To the community, the nearby residents, please come out and bring him this law line. Who have done that, bring him come forward to the law.
Once enough information on the incident is collected, the matter will be handed over to investigators at the Criminal Investigation Division and Sexual Offences Squad to commence formal investigations. The victims have received medical treatment but are still traumatized. Meanwhile, NCD Governor Powes Parkop has condemned the rape and described the incident as animalistic.
We can't accept this type of animalistic behavior where people showing no respect to women, no respect to girls, no respect to children.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
And among stories after the break, NCD prepares for 2017 elections and government and opposition leaders call for stability in Hela and Eastern Highlands provinces. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The National Capital District will be the first province in the country to carry out a photo project to prepare for the upcoming 2017 national elections. Governor Paulos Pako presented a cheque of 197,100 kina to the PNG Electoral Commission to implement this project in Port Moresby. The project is an initiative by the NCDC and supported by the Electoral Commission to avoid informal voting during polls.
NCD will implement a pilot photo rollout project to prepare for the 2017 national elections. This project will go ahead as scheduled with a check presentation of 197,100 kina today by NCDC through Governor Paulos Pako to the Electoral Commission. He said elections are a democratic process of electing leaders of this nation and they must not be interfered or influenced in any way.
That is very important and critical to the well-being of our nation and its future. The leaders make the nation, and it's important that we have a process in place that can enable a proper process to elect leaders on merits.
Upon receiving the check, Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato said this great support will go towards the implementation of this pilot project across the city. Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato says the photo rollout project in NCD is a way of identification to identify voters during election time. He says photos of individual voters will be placed beside their names to identify them during elections.
You have supported us by giving your staff to assist the Electoral Commission, and also in the Motu Koita election, which you have allocated 300,000 kina to support the Electoral Commission in running the election. The election is very important, as you know.
According to NCD Provincial Elections Manager Terence Etinu, this concept will update the common role and prevent informal voting.
To relook at our schedule again, and we're looking at starting of next month in Feb. We will finish it up in, I think, February, yes.
He said incidences of double voting, unregistered names in the common roll and underage voting will be avoided. The NCD Provincial Elections Manager said this viable project is a way leading up to the 2017 general elections. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, PNG Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato says the Electoral Commission needs an additional 182 million kina to carry out the 2017 general elections. He said this during a check presentation ceremony held today in Port Moresby.
PNG Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato says the Electoral Commission needs another 182 million kina to fully carry out the 2017 general elections across the country. He said recently the government has paid only 10 million kina of the total 192 million kina required to implement the election process. The Electoral Commissioner said the PNG EC is expecting another 182 million kina to come from the government. He said to make early preparations for the 2017 general elections, the government must pay the outstanding 182 million kina. Mr. Gamato said this 10 million kina will go towards the Commission's preparations in organizing polling sites to cater for the general elections. He said the Commission has submitted a proposal to the government for the outstanding payment. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
Opposition leader Don Pollier has called for stability within the Hela provincial government. Pollier says the province is playing host to PNG's biggest investment and government must honour and restore political leadership. The opposition leader made these statements following the current power struggle between Anderson Agiru and Francis Potape over the governor's seat.
It's been 15 days since the Hela Provincial Assembly moved a motion to dismiss Hela Governor Anderson Agiru. On December 22nd, Agiru was officially dismissed by a vote of no confidence by a majority of the Assembly members in Tari, with the election of Komo-Magarima MP Francis Potape as the new Hela Governor. 3 days ago, landowners in the PNG LNG project showed signs of distrust with concerns over the Croton equity in the project. This prompted opposition leader Don Pollier to call for stability within the Hela provincial government.
Hela is the most important province in Papua New Guinea at this time. At this time, Hela is the most important province, so delicate that you've got to be careful.
Mr. Polya said this situation must not evolve like the Bougainville crisis if the political tussle continues with people taking sides.
You've got to be careful so you do not create another Bougainville crisis. You've got to be careful, be responsible.
The Office of the Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs has refused to comment on the process taken by the Hela Assembly. However, elected Governor Francis Potape maintains that the process taken by the Assembly is lawful, understanding orders and Section 20 A and B of the Organic Law.
The system of government must be run according to law and according to ethics and principles and standing orders. So if we don't do it today, who else will do it? If we remain blind, who else will open the eyes and say it?
Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said the national government is concerned about the political struggle in Hela and Eastern Highlands provinces. Mr. O'Neill says the national government does not have the powers to intervene. However, he called on leaders in both provinces to work together to provide stability. The struggle over the provincial administrator position in Eastern Highlands and the governorship in Hela must not affect service delivery, he said. The Prime Minister warned government agencies not to be disrupted by disagreements and urged leaders involved to respect the rule of law. People are urged to read newspapers, listen to radio and watch television to be aware of information and developments in the country. Opposition leader Don Pollier says it's critical that people must understand information and carefully judge who is telling the truth and who is not.
The tussle between the government and the opposition on who is telling the truth in relation to issues of national interest is continuing. On numerous occasions last year, both parties blamed each other for lying and associating with faceless cronies in obtaining information. People are left unaware of who is telling the truth. Issues of interest, like the whereabouts of the revenues from the LNG project, clarification on the controversial UBS loan, the state of the country's economy, and the sovereign bond initiative have not been clarified properly. The opposition leader, Don Pollier, says people have to make use of all mediums of information to know the truth.
On facts, on common knowledge that are below the people of this nation, and the government is not acting on very important matters. These are not parochial issues. These are not trivial matters. They're very important constitutional matters that affect people in this nation.
His comments come after Prime Minister Peter O'Neill accused the opposition in his Christmas message last year of working with faceless cronies to get information. People are encouraged to monitor all media outlets to know the latest information and developments happening in politics, the bureaucracy and social developments. Quinton Alomp, National EMTV News.
A Papua New Guinea homegrown Trukai rice project will expand this year after a successful 2015. The Trukai Industry Rice Project has expanded a further 20 hectares in the Central Province. The 20 hectares was given by Amadi Baga Integrated Land Group of Kairukuhiri. Since 2015, Trukai has been looking into ways of producing rice in Papua New Guinea. This comes after the Agriculture Minister Tommy Tomskol called on rice companies to start investing money into assisting farmers. Chief Executive Officer of Trukai Industry, Greg Worthington Iyer, said that contributing to wealth creation in the rural sector was something Trukai was passionate about and that it would be a new chapter in Trukai's history as an organisation, and expanding the rice project in the future is part of Trukai's long-term plan. Agriculture will continue to be a focus for Trukai Industries in 2016 as Trukai pursues opportunities for farmers in other provinces such as West New Britain and Oro. And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3325 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3250 US, $0.4505 Australian dollars, 0.2989 euro and 38.41 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa closed higher, while copper closed the day lower. Palm oil, crude oil and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 267 points lower, The ASX closed at 96 points lower and the All Ordinaries closed at 194 points higher. And among local and international news after the break, a man charged over the death of his wife in Port Moresby and President Obama on his gun control laws. Stay with us. Welcome back. NCD Police have arrested and charged a man over the death of his wife on New Year's Eve. Billy Aki, the president of a suburban rugby league club, turned himself in yesterday. Aki was charged with willful murder and has been detained at the Baroko police station.
Billy Aki, who was a former rugby league player and current president of the NCD Suburban League, is under investigation. This was confirmed by NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Benjamin Turi, who said Aki will only be granted bail by the National Court. It is understood Aki physically abused his wife at the Governor's Grand Final Cup at the Connie Tigers Oval last month in front of spectators. According to family members, Aki and Louisa Daniel were married for 7 years with a 4-year-old son. The son is said to be currently with the victim's family. The distraught family members of late Louisa Daniel said she lived in an abusive marriage. NCD Governor Powers Pakop says he was not aware of the details of the incident that took place on the day. However, Pakop is calling on the victim's family not to interfere with police investigations.
I want to pass my sympathy to the relatives of the wife. I want to assure them that Billy has agreed to submit to the law and he is in the hands of the police now, so let's leave that with the police.
Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, 10 of Vanuatu's 14 jailed MPs have submitted applications to run this month's snap election. 14 MPs were jailed late last year, causing a deadlock in Parliament and prompting the snap elections, costing the nation almost 2 million kina. 4 other convicted MPs have requested for their relatives or former secretaries to stand on their behalf. Vanuatu's Electoral Office Advisor Martin Tete said 9 of the applications have already been rejected as candidates serving prison terms are ineligible to run for election. 200,000 Vanuatuans will vote for 52 members of parliament in 2 weeks. American women have reached another milestone in the Army, now allowed to serve all military combat roles. Brigadier General Diana Holland was sworn in as the first female commandant of cadets at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, New York. Brigadier General Holland assumed the historic post as of Tuesday, the 5th of January.
Assuming post as 76th Commandant of Cadets and first female in American military history, Brigadier General Holland looks forward to fulfilling her role with the cadets, where she said, and I quote, "They ask for very little in return really, only that they be well led," close quote. At the swearing-in on January 5th, Holland was thankful to her father and her husband for the continuous support they offered throughout the years.
I'm very grateful for this opportunity, first to be part of a winning team that demonstrates continuous excellence and contributes to our nation in such significant ways in times of peace and in conflict.
Holland is not new to barrier-breaking accomplishments, as her resume includes roles such as becoming first female general to the U.S. Army 4th Drum and 10th Mountain Division. West Point Superintendent Lieutenant General Robert Caslin commended 4 other servicewomen who were recently recognized for also making history for women in leading roles in the U.S. Army.
It was a tremendous opportunity to recognize the women of the United States Army as Persons of the Year.
Holland returns to West Point after serving in Germany and deployments to Iraq in 2004 and Afghanistan in 2010 and 2013. She replaces Major General John Thompson III, becoming one of the first women in U.S. military frontline. Lorraine Gabina, EMTV World News.
The late Gisela Mota had only been mayor of Mexico's city of Temisco less than a day before she was killed by 4 gunmen in her home on Saturday morning. In the wake of her death, the governor of Molo, a state Temisco is in, gained control of police stations in over 15 towns.
Gisela Mota's death is not uncommon news to Mexicans. The country has seen over 100 deaths of mayors of Mexico's towns and cities in the past 10 years. Governor Ramirez, on Twitter, blamed Mota's death on the Rojos gang, saying it is a warning to officials who have been pushing for a crackdown on local police forces.
This incident, which took place in Temisco, is a message and a clear threat to the mayors who have recently taken office to not accept the police coordination scheme that we have supported and that is being built at a national level.
Mota had previously accepted Governor Ramirez's plan to unite police forces under a single command. According to reports, intruders had entered Mota's home and tied her up and beat her before shooting her in the head. Morelos Governor Graco Ramirez took rapid action in the wake of her death, which he blamed on drug cartels, financed by the drugs trade, and sources of fear and unlawful control in many of Mexico's local communities.
Exercising the powers vested in me by Article 115 of the 7th section of the Constitution of Mexico, I have decided to issue several decrees to maintain order and the operational coordination of police in 15 municipalities.
According to local reports, Mota's group of killers was paid around 90,000 kina to do the assassination. Alana Lay, EMTV World News.
President Obama conceded in his speech that his executive actions will not stop every shooting massacre, but he insisted that preventing even death is important. Obama said tightening gun controls is long overdue.
Surrounded by families of gun violence victims, an emotional Obama was seen delivering his speech yesterday, announcing the new gun restrictions to be applied in the United States.
And from first graders in Newtown, first graders, and from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad. And by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day. So, all of us need to demand a Congress brave enough to stand up to the gun lobby's lies. All of us need to stand up and protect its citizens. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. Thank you. God bless them all.
While the United States and the world over needs peace and harmony and President Obama takes measures to combat gun violence, some U.S. citizens have spoken out against the new laws Obama plans to take in the Second Amendment for arms restrictions.
No, I don't think it's going to be effective. You know, we have 2 of the most restrictive states in the country, Illinois and California. They even register guns in California. I think they register them in Illinois. Illinois has one of the highest crime rates in the country, and so does California. So why don't we just work on the laws that we currently have?
Those opposing are adamant that the new gun laws will not effectively combat gun violence, furthermore creating other political and social problems for the country.
The president, and by extension the Democrats, are making a big mistake, but I wouldn't want to try to restrain them too much. Every time the Democrats get involved in pushing gun control, politically it costs them an arm and a leg. And if they want to go into the 2016 elections as the champion of gun control, be my guest.
Obama urged Americans to vote for members of Congress who support changes in gun laws. Lorraine Gabina, EMTV World News.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo is committed to developing the lives of Papua's indigenous people. Papua, Indonesia's largest territory, is rich in resources and home to the biggest gold mine in the world, yet its indigenous people live in poverty. Widodo is spearheading major infrastructure projects to connect regions throughout Sulawesi and Sumatra, Indonesia's fourth and largest islands respectively. But the president said this week that the construction of a railway in Papua is also to begin by mid this year. Indonesia is priming itself in the wake of several upcoming international events, including the Asian Games and annual World Bank meeting in 2018. The development is a positive for indigenous Papuans, whose poverty rate is almost 3 times higher than Indonesia's national average, according to the Australian Institute of International Affairs. And Trukai Sports is up next. Former Kumuls and Hunters captain Israel Eliab named in the London Broncos side and the Hunters' first training session in 2016. Stay with us for the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Former Kumuls and Hunters captain Israel Eliab has been named in the London Broncos 28-man squad for the 2016 season. The team was announced by head coach Andrew Henderson for the Kingston Press Championship.
8 new faces have joined the team, with the latest signing being Israel Eliab. The team will be led by Fijian captain Wes Negwama. Amongst the 8 new faces, 20 players have been retained from last year's squad. Eliab completed the team ahead of the 2016 season. Their season will begin on February 7 against Oldham RLFC, with their first home game a week after against Swinton Lions. The London Broncos team 2016 is as follows: Ben Hallowell at fullback, Rhys Williams and Elise McKennie on the wing, Nathan Stapleton and captain Wes Negwama in the centres. Eliab will maintain his position as 5'8" and will play alongside halfback William Bartau. Israel Eliab has had outstanding seasons with the PNG Hunters, and moving to the London Broncos could be a great stepping stone for his career. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
Meanwhile, the PNG Hunters' final 25-man squad for the 2016 Intra-Super Cup season had their first training run today at the Sir John Guy Stadium. The squad has several new faces, and their strength will be tested this season following the departure of some of their big names.
Returning from a 2-week break from the festive season, the newly selected 2016 PNG Hunters team had their first training session today at the Sir John Guy Stadium. Senior players have described the training program as tough and intense. Former Port Moresby Vipers fullback and second-time Hunters Stagroth Amien says the reason being training had been delayed.
It's kind of hard at times, but as they say, no pain, no gain. So it's kind of a sweet pain.
Joining seasoned players such as Amien is new addition to the squad, Watson Boas, who joins elder brother Ase. Watson, who played in the Intercity Cup Grand Final winning team Egmak Gurias, says the Hunters training program is not one he is used to.
Team, the training is hard, but not too hard like our experience with the Hunters. Training, it's very hard.
Along with Watson are 7 other new players in the squad, including 20-year-old Connie Bernard, who says he looks up to the experienced players for encouragement.
Now morning I'm hard lili kilometer pusan tembol tuklamali encouragement lol na finish la training.
Coach Michael Marum is happy with the new squad and hopes to maintain the amount of talent in the national team.
8 new players in the side, so we'll be back in training now, so we'll see how they handle the next 4 weeks before trial games. So yeah, but they're gonna be really good squad for 2016.
Jaylee Sapies, National EMTV Sports.
21-year-old Connie Bernard is one of the new faces in the PNG Hunters team. He's one of 8 new players in the squad of 25 for the 2016 Intrust Super Cup campaign.
Connie Bernard, who hails from West New Britain province, is one of the new faces in the PNG Hunters Intrust Super Cup team for the year 2016. Bernard debuted last year playing with the reigning champions of the Intercity Cup competition, the Agma Gurias. This year he makes his mark in the PNG Hunters team. The quiet-spoken West New Britain man was excited and is looking forward to the Hunters season, and is also looking to learn a lot from the older boys in the team.
Yeah, time Hunters comes and we play, come with him. School boys all will kiss me come inside. Time Hunters training starts straight. Come inside, me line plan something, me go back. Time I sing out to me come back again. Me Milo because me line in Pinisle.
Bernard plays fullback and winger as well, and it will be challenging with new guys in the team as well as experienced players. An exciting career path for this young man in the sports of rugby league, and is looking to take on the challenges to achieving his goals and dreams. Mike Koime, National EMTV Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Port Moresby Women's Softball Association will resume their 2016 season on the 16th of January after having only played 2 games in round 1. This year's competition will see a total of 18 teams participate for a total of 12 weeks.
With a total of 18 registered teams, the Port Moresby Women's Softball Association will resume the 2015-2016 season on the 16th of January. The competition was delayed due to the Pacific Games, with reigning champion Stingers, who remain as crowd favourites. Port Moresby Women's Softball Association President Jenny Park says it is anybody's game, as there have been a lot of shifts among players to different clubs. The teams competing in the 2015-2016 season are Yokomo, Moniplas, Gazelle, Shabu, Admiralty, Stingers, United Sisters, Bears, Wantoks and the Wolves. The competition will run for a total of 3 months before finals are held during the Easter period, with the juniors competition expected to follow straight after. Jaylee Sapies, National EMTV Sports.
In its effort to encourage sports in the local and rural communities of PNG, the Sports Foundation will send 2 of its representatives to spend over 3 days in the Gulf Province to observe local tournaments. Foundation Special Project Coordinator Peter Aglua said sports can be used as a driving tool for development in the rural areas.
When it comes to sports in the country, rugby league is arguably the #1 game. However, the Sports Foundation encourages sporting diversity around the country. PNG Sports Foundation's Special Project Manager, Peter Aglua, was there to not only witness the games played in Kerama town, but also make evaluation and make recommendations for improvements in various sporting codes in the province.
With these games that has been played the last 2 days, and this is the 3rd day, we are very pleased to be part of it. And I'm also very familiar with the Digital Cup and what it takes to bring those top teams out to be competitive at that semi-professional level.
Present was Gulf Governor Havila Kavo, who challenged the national sporting bodies and the sports ministry that funds for sports in the country must be fairly distributed throughout the country.
Funds for sporting in the country must be fairly distributed right across the country. And I've seen that more funds have been absorbed into NCD and other bigger centers. Smaller centers have been left out. When facilities have been built in respective provinces, there are 22 provinces in this country. And I want to see that the national sporting body, including the minister, to put separate stadiums in all the 22 provinces so that sporting in those provinces can pick up momentum to be more competitive in the PNG Games and in other national sports. So this is a call to the national sporting body, including the Ministry of Sports.
The foundation aims to partner with government and support not only rugby league, but encourages other sporting codes to flourish.
To see more of sports develop in the
the codes in a level like in the LNG wards, and then from the LNG ward in the village up to the district level, and then to the provincial level.
The Sports Foundation encourages the introduction of various sporting codes and programs such as League Belong Life program in schools and local communities. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
To tennis now, and world number 1 Serena Williams pulled out of her Hopman Cup match against Australia's Jamila Wolf after sustaining injuries to the knee. Williams was trailing when she decided to pull out of the match.
After pulling out of Monday's tie against Ukraine with inflammation in her knee, the 34-year-old American hobbled through the match before deciding she could not go on. Playing for Australia, Wolf took the first set as 21-time Grand Slam singles champion Williams struggled to move to her left. In other matches, veteran Leighton Hewitt clinched the tie for the Australian side with a victory over Jack Sock. Encouraged by the local crowd, the 34-year-old two-time Grand Slam winner, who will retire at the end of the Australian summer, fought hard to beat the world number 26. Hewitt then partnered Wolf to seal a 3-0 win for Australia by winning the mixed doubles against Sock and Williams' replacement, Vicky Duval. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Your weather details for the next 24 hours when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
And now to your weather forecast for tonight in the southern region. Showers at times in Port Moresby, Daru and Kerema, and some showers in Alotau and Popondetta. In the Momase region, showers at times in Ley City, some showers in Madang, Wewak and Bunimore. In the New Guinea Islands, some showers in Lorengau, showers at times for Kavian, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and few showers in Buka. And lastly, in the Highlands region, all centres expecting showers at times. Now looking at the forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Island, with waters east of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, and with waters of Manus and its western group of islands seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands with waters west of Long Island to Madang, to Bogia, to Wewak, to Aitape, to Vanimo and northern PNG, Indonesian border, and with waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And waters of Finschhafen, including Bitias Strait, CRC Islands to Long Island, seas of 2.5 to 3.0 meters. And your ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea, seas moderate with northwest to southwest winds at 15 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas slight with northwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with northwest winds at 15 to 20 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with northwest to southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. Now recapping our top stories for tonight. Government to control spending in 2016. Suspended police officer caught after being on the run, and Waigani Police identify suspects involved in the rape of 4 women. And that's the news, sports and weather for Wednesday, the 6th of January 2016. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Genia. Good night.